Have you ever been the one who apologizes first? Not because you were wrong, but because the silence was unbearable, even though you knew it wasn't your fault. You reach for peace the way others reach for water, automatically, even before you decide. And somewhere beneath that reflex there is a question you have never fully answered. Are you protecting the peace? Or are you just afraid of what will happen if you don't? This is a story about what it costs to learn that. There was a turtle who apologized for everything. He always did this, not in a dramatic way. There was no performance and there was no visible pain. That is why it was quieter. It was such an old habit that it had stopped feeling like a habit and it started to feel like a personality. When the crow was in a bad mood and snapped at him suddenly for no reason, the turtle would apologize before the crow's tension even faded. When the fox took more than its share at the water and made the turtle wait, the turtle would think he had arrived at the wrong time and apologize to the fox. When the rabbit bumped into him on the narrow path and said nothing, the turtle would step aside and say, "Sorry." He thought that softening the environment was entirely a kind of strength. He thought that this was kindness, and he told himself that, and for a long time, no one objected to this. The animals around him accepted this truth and quietly settled into it, the way water shapes itself around a stone. Without saying anything, they all knew that in every friction that arose, the turtle would take it on. Not because they were cruel, most of them were not, but he had never allowed the friction to stay long enough for someone else to feel responsible for it. He had turned himself into the solution to a problem that was actually meant to be shared. He had watched a donkey do the same once, never refusing, never pausing, until helpfulness stopped being something he chose and became simply something he was. He thought it had to be this way. One morning the fox came to him with a story. "A misunderstanding," said the fox. Something about borrowed food that had not been returned, and a version of events that gently but clearly placed the mistake on the turtle. The turtle listened. He weighed the story in his mind. He knew his own memory. He knew very well what had really happened. But the fox's narration was so smooth. Saying, "No, that's not what happened," felt so difficult and uncertain that the turtle did what he always did. He apologized. The fox left satisfied. The turtle stayed alone and felt something he could not immediately make sense of. Not guilt. There was nothing to feel guilty about. Not exactly anger either. Something flatter and more lasting than anger. The feeling of accepting something that had never actually happened as if it had. He thought about it all day, and the next day. It did not go away. A week later, the crow came with its own version, about a shared afternoon, a version in which the turtle had caused a discomfort he did not actually remember. The turtle opened his mouth. The apology had already formed, already halfway out, built from years of reflex. And then he stopped. Not in a planned way, not because he thought about what to say next. He stopped by hearing, suddenly, a voice he had chosen not to hear for a long time, and by waiting. He thought, in a moment where hearing felt like waking up. He looked at the crow and quietly said that he did not think it had happened that way. The crow blinked. It was not prepared for this response. It repeated its own version, emphasizing it more. The turtle said that he understood that this was how the crow remembered it, and that he remembered it differently. The silence that followed was the longest silence the turtle had been in for years. Unexpectedly, it was uncomfortable. Not because it was hostile, but because it was real. There was no apology to fill the space, no softening, just two animals standing on two sides of a disagreement, and that disagreement remaining unresolved between them. The crow left without receiving the apology it expected. The turtle stayed in the silence a little longer. He waited for the familiar feeling to come, the anxiety of having left something broken, the urge to go after it and fix it. It came. He allowed it to come. And then, slowly, it passed. What remained afterward was something he had not felt for a very long time. Not exactly relief, something more balanced than relief. The quiet knowledge that he was still standing, that nothing had collapsed, that the world had not ended because he told the truth about something small. The crow came back 2 days later. It did not mention the disagreement. The turtle did not mention it either, but something had changed in the way it spoke to him. Less assumption, more care, as if within itself it had adjusted what it could and could not expect from him. The fox heard about this and came to the turtle differently than it was used to. Still smooth, still careful, but with a new awareness underneath. The kind that someone shows when they realize for the first time that something has boundaries. The turtle did not harden. He did not become a difficult person. He remained who he had always been, measured, careful, willing to take responsibility when it truly belonged to him. But he stopped taking responsibility when it did not belong to him. And the strange thing, the thing he had not expected, was that this caused the animals around him to treat him with more care, not less, as if his willingness to be honest had given them a sense of respect that his constant accommodation had never given. Sometimes, it does not feel like a big decision. You do not wake up one day and decide to change. It is smaller than that, quieter. Just a moment where something feels slightly wrong. And this time, you do not rush to fix it immediately. Not because you are trying to prove something, not because you suddenly become strong, just because you notice. And usually, everything begins exactly here. Not with a big change, not with a clear answer, but with that small pause that was not there before. For a long time, the other way may have felt easier, smoother, safer. But there is a difference between keeping things calm and slowly losing your place within them. And it is not always obvious. Most of the time, nothing really breaks. People do not react the way you expect. The world does not suddenly turn against you. It simply adapts a little, and you do too. And somewhere within that, without making it bigger than it is, you begin to realize you do not have to carry everything anymore. Some things can remain where they are, and that is not a problem. Have you ever realized too late that someone had already made peace with losing you? In the next story, you will meet a wolf who discovers that the one he judged the hardest was himself.